Okay, welcome guys, welcome back. This is Introduction to Information Security, and we are covering this chapter number 2, which is called Security Awareness. There are certain things that you must know in order to protect yourself and your organization from any kind of external threats. After completing this chapter, you should be able to do the following. Define what makes a weak password. So we'll see that how can we make our passwords a bit stronger so that it cannot be easily compromised, or people cannot guess the passwords if you're typing in, even if you're typing it slow. Identify the different type of social engineering attacks, the way how they are managing it towards cracking the password. There are different techniques used for that. And then describe identity theft and risks using the social networking, what information shall go online and what information shall be kept private for your own personal use for the safety of individuals as well as for you and your family. Describe personal security defenses, what you should be doing, and the goal of early attacks of the computers, defense or destroy, what used to happen before, and what's the situation now, what kind of different attacks are there, which people are using it or using different techniques in order to penetrate your network. What is it directed to, what's their main motive if they are trying to penetrate, or if they are doing anything specific towards your organization or the network in general. And what does it usually affects, and what kind of devices and operating systems are usually affected by these kind of things. So let's start with the personal security attacks, which is the first one. The goal of the early attacks of the computers was like defense or destroy, and today's attacks are are usually targeted towards stealing your information, because your information, your data, your personal details, your whereabouts, your likes and dislikes are very important towards knowing your pattern and targeting a specific kind of marketing campaign towards an individual. So that's why this information is very important. For example, if you have purchased anything from Amazon.com or eBay, they'll track what kind of things you are interested, and then based on that, relevant ads will be appearing in front of you. That's why you might have seen that if you have search for a specific item on Amazon or eBay, and if you are using your Facebook, you start seeing all the relevant ads there on the screen, because someone is monitoring your activity. Because of that, they are targeting the ads which you will be interested in, and they'll be showing those kind of ads in front of you, just to give you an idea that these things are available as well. So if you'll be interested, you'll simple you'll simply try or open the link and would check the item, maybe if you are interested in those kind of items. Now they are directed towards mass users. There are different ways the way they are collecting your information. Some websites are collecting it through the cookies, some are collecting it through different tools or the softwares or any plugins which are installed on your computer. It affects the wide variety of devices and operating systems, regardless if you're using a tablet or you're using a mobile phone, or a laptop computer or a desktop computer. They can be easily still tracked. Personal security attacks are the attacks launched against a user personal security. For example, password attacks. Someone would be interested in knowing your password, and by knowing the password, they'll try to guess that what kind of information you are interested in maintaining, for example, or they'll try to guess that you are keeping the name of your kids or your family members or your mobile phone number. So what are the possible combinations of the passwords that you could think of? Based on those things, they'll try to attack the passwords. And now they are using different attacks using the social engineering, by knowing where you're going, what you're doing, and what your likes and what are your dislikes. And then identity theft is your information which is being stolen online, and they'll claim to be as if you are using the devices, but you will not be using the devices. Long time ago, when there were no security protocols as such, when internet was starting way back in 1998 and 96, it was spreading at that time, so there was no security. So if you had a username and password and you were checking your Hotmail account from USA, and then someone else checks your account from UK, that was 100% fine. Like there were no issues on it. There were no security alerts that your account was used from a different IP address or from a different machine. But nowadays, if you are using a account, Facebook, Hotmail, or any other account, even eBay or Amazon, they would detect the machine that you used last time. If it's different than the machine this time, they are going to send you a email or a message or an alert on the screen that seems like you are logged in using a different computer. So verify the account by entering the passkey, which is sent usually on your email account. So through this you can track that your account was used from which different devices. Based on those things, if your account was used from any other country or any other computer, you know that for sure you are not sitting over there. It means that your password has been compromised, and the first thing you must be doing is that you must change your password as soon as possible. Then there is social networking attacks, which are there based on your post and the things that you are usually posting on the websites, by showing your whereabouts, that where you usually go with your family or all alone. So those are the different kind of attacks and the strategies through which they are collecting your information. Next is password attacks. Username and password, primary means of authentication on a computer or a system. So the password should be long enough. I would say longer than 8 characters, alphanumeric, special characters, numbers, alphabet, symbols. It should have a combination of all those things. Now, username and passwords are important because on the computers, mostly people are keeping the same password and they are not changing it over the period of time. We must have a practice of changing our passwords on regular basis, because if somehow your account has been compromised and if someone is using your account, you must change the password so that at least if they had the password, they'll gain the access to the PC for a month, and then they'll not have any access to it. Depends what kind of organization you're working on. Some organizations enforce the users to change the passwords after, for example, 2 weeks or after a month. It depends really what kind of policies are there. Now, password secret combination should be of letters and numbers. Then passwords not considered strong defense against attackers. Password can be weak. Password subject to different type of attacks. If you are keeping your mobile number as your password, or if you are keeping a password as 1234567 or up to 9 or 126, or you're keeping your father name or your mother's name or your brothers and sisters name, that's very easy to guess for someone who is a bit smart in the computers. Second thing is, we must not be keeping any passwords which are available in the dictionary. We'll be talking about dictionary attacks later. So there are tools through which they'll use the words in the dictionary in order to guess your password. Human beings can only memorize a limited number of items. Long and complex passwords are difficult to memorize, and users must remember multiple passwords for multiple accounts. So there are different tools available on the internet with the help of which we can save our passwords. They are on digital wallets are available online. You can have a premium service, or you can have free services which are available with Google and Firefox, where your passwords of all the websites are securely saved in their wallet. So even if you're changing the devices, the same username and password would be copied on all devices. So it's not like if you're changing the browser or if you are formatting the computer, your all information and the passwords would be gone. They will be backed up somewhere. But make sure that those websites or the tools that they are using, they are providing certain kind of encryption on it, so that even if their servers are compromised, your information must not be compromised with that kind of a tool that you are using. Many businesses have strict policies that mandate the password expire after a set number of periods. For example, in most of the organizations, they have a policy that you must change your password after 30 days. Or if your account was locked out due to any reason, you are asked to change the password as soon as possible. So through these means, we can protect our identity online. Characteristics of a weak password is: use a common word, a short password using predictable sequence or characters or personal information or password, your room number, your mobile number, and stuff like that. Now here they are showing statistics that are collected over the period of time, and they have the 10 most common passwords which people are keeping. For example, if you are having a password from 1 to 6, the number of users with this password in the world that was collected long time ago were around about 290,000 users. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, round about 80,000 users. 1 to 9, 76,000 users. So there are high chances that you are falling in one of these categories if you are keeping these simple kind of passwords which are there. You must have an alphanumeric, as I told you, alphanumeric password, special characters, some words which are not part of the dictionary. You can have a combination, characters, different language words and stuff like that, words which usually does not appear in the dictionary. Further, we must not have the practice of having the same password for all accounts. If you are keeping same password for all accounts, for your Facebook, for Gmail, for Hotmail and other services, so in that case, if your one account is compromised, your all related accounts will be compromised as well. So it's not a good practice to keep the same password. You must have some combination or calculation through which you are keeping or maintaining a different password for each kind of a service. Now, attacks on passwords could be by a variety of ways. It could be a brute force, it could be dictionary attack, it could be lots of other different kind of tools which are available out there. Variety of attacks used on the passwords. The technique not used is online guessing. Someone would be guessing the password, and if he's claiming that he's the hacker, he's not a hacker, he's just trying to be smart, where he know that what kind of passwords you'll be keeping on your computer or what kind of passwords you'll be interested in keeping on the computer. So they'll guess it and would try to crack the account. Accounts are set to disable after a number of attempts. For example, on our network as well, if someone tries a password for a couple of times, and if they'll keep on trying the same password a number of times, the account would be locked out for a certain period of time. Now, the reason why we are doing it is that if someone somehow got the password of a service or something, and they are constantly trying to guess the password with the wrong password, it would let him try it for a couple of times and then it would lock out the account. So even if he'll keep on trying the same password, it would show it that the password is not correct, so the user cannot log into the device. In the meantime, the user is notified that someone is trying to log in through his account. So in that case, the best practice is to change your password as soon as possible. Now there are tools through which they are collecting the hash of your account, and they are trying to crack the account offline. The basic example of that is using your Wi-Fi routers, which are there on the for the internet usage. There is a certain hash of a password which is saved on the computer in Windows, like they are saving the real-time password on the computer through different ways. You can even view the password for the Wi-Fi networks. Even the passwords which are saved on the devices are sometimes saved in the hash mode, so that if someone would collect that information and would try different tools in order to crack the password, they'll be able to change the they'll be able to guess the password. And once they guess the password and you're not changing the password, they'll keep on using it till the time you will change the password. Now, the digest is digest representation of a password stored on a computer or a website created by a hash algorithm. There are lots of tools available online which are providing you these services that they'll be installed as a small software or a plugin in your browser, and it would be maintaining all your password into a central wallet somewhere. Now those kind of wallets can be incorporated in your different browsers if you're using on your computer. For example, if you're using Firefox, Mozilla, or Chrome, in all those browsers you'll be able to install the plugin, and you'll be able to save all the passwords of all the websites that you're using all those on all those different browsers. Now, there are a variety of attacks, as they have mentioned. Attacks try to steal the file or a password digest, compare the hashes of the known passwords. Then the next one, they are talking about a brute force. Brute force is an automated attack which has certain parameters to be entered in the attack program. For example, if you saw someone, or if these kind of hackers who are trying to guess the password, if they saw that the user is entering the password and he's not using any special combination of numbers or special characters, they know that your password is lowercase, it's not even capital, and all alphabets. So he'll use certain calculations, or he'll use certain dictionaries, or his own list of password files. They come in different text format where they have possible combination of the passwords which people would have kept on their accounts, and then they'll use those kind of notepad files to run it through a script to guess the passwords, unless they'll crack the password. Now the parameters could be entered into the attack program. Every possible combination of letters and numbers is tried on it. And the slowest, yes, most through it is a slower method, but it is very effective as well. Now if you don't have that policy where you are disabling the account after consecutive unsuccessful attempts, these kind of people would be using brute force, and they'll keep on checking different combination of passwords on the computers. So next is we have covered it, the brute force attack. Next is dictionary attack. Attackers create a digest of common dictionary words and compare the digest to the stolen password. So if you are keeping a word from the dictionary, for example characteristics, or you are keeping a password as attacks, these kind of words are appearing in the dictionary. Like these words are there available in the dictionary. So you must not be keeping the passwords which are there in the dictionary, and you must simply keep the password which are outside the dictionary. It could be a word in your language, a combination of numbers, alphabets, and everything. So in that way you'll be able to have different username and passwords without having any problems. In 2009, an attacker broke into a server that contained more than 32 million user passwords. Now just imagine that if it had lots of different passwords, he would keep on trying it on your computer and on different computers, and there are high chances that the password which was leaked was maybe your own password. So it's that's why they say that it's always a good practice to change your password on regular basis. Now attacks on password, for example, in a dictionary word he found a word agree, and they are saying, and in the digest they are maintaining this hash code over there, and then it was somewhere on the stolen server which was kept or which was copied from that account to the penetrator's computer. Next is social engineering attack. Unexpected email from a friend asking you to click on a link and check it out. Urgent help and text, or send me or sent a message that I am in need of a money or something, if you can help me, or a disaster video asking that there has been flooding in certain parts of the world, so we are collecting certain donations and stuff like that. And stuff. So people are doing these kind of social engineering in different ways. Maybe an account of your friend is compromised, or someone is using his account and he's sending an email out from his account that, hey, I'm really in need of money, so if you can send me this much amount on this account, and if you'll send that amount without even inquiring or asking about it from your friend. So it's not recommended that you just take action based on the emails and stuff that you're receiving. It's always better to confirm it with the guy, whoever is sending you these kind of emails, where you are a little bit suspicious about that this guy is not sending the email. It's better to confirm it before taking any actions. As we are aware that there has been reports that WhatsApp accounts of the users has been compromised, where someone is sending the messages from your friend's account asking for money and certain help, and or asking for a different username and passwords and stuff. Now in that way they'll gain access to they have already gained access to the account of your friend, and they might try to gain access of all the contacts which are there in his directory. So those kind of things are usually you must be very aware of, so that no one is trying to harm you using these social engineering attacks and tactics. An unexpected email could be there, an urgent plea for help, like I lost my credit card, or I dropped my wallet somewhere, so if you can send me a couple of $1,000 or a couple of $100 on my account, so that you can so that I can travel back to my country. Or text messages with the warning that we have detected that someone is using your account, and if you think that your account has been compromised, kindly call us and we'll reset your password. Now those kind of people are sending these kind of messages from their mobile phones. It's our responsibility to be aware that banks usually don't ask for username or passwords or anything like that. Neither they do call from their personal mobile numbers. They usually call from the toll-free number which is available with the bank. So never respond to the request if someone is calling you from a personal number saying that your information shall be updated on the bank account, otherwise your account will be seized, and they'll be getting your card number, your full name, your national ID, and rest of the information. Now these kind of information is gathered by an email, by calling, or saying that something went wrong, needed to act by relying to the human weakness, manipulating the users to perform an action. For example, they'll send an email out. It would look like very similar to the official emails that you'll receive from your organization, that we have detected that your account has been compromised, and or it has been 90 days you did not change your password, so here is a link, please click here to change your password. As soon as you'll click on the link, it would take you to another website which would look very much similar to your organizational website. They'll ask you to enter the new password, the old password and the new password, and then they'll show that your password has been successfully changed. In fact, they are collecting all that information for their own gain, and they'll use that information somewhere else, so that your password is not changed. Meanwhile, as soon as they'll get the information, they'll put some forwarders on your email, or they'll collect all the details from your email, all kind of communication that you had, or any kind of emails that you sent out from your accounts. Social engineering attacks rely on the psychology, manipulation of a human nature. What you might be thinking, if you are a very kind-hearted person, they might be sending you pictures of kids, or someone in pain, or of the flooding, or any kind of disasters which took place anywhere around the world. Attacks involves phishing, type squirting, and then pretexting, hoaxes, and dumpster diving, and then shoulder surfing. We'll be talking about all of them one by one. Phishing is the most common social engineering attack, sending bogus email from a legitimate business account. Like, it would be your official account, but the email which is being sent out would not be by you. It would be someone else who's using your account to send an email. Attempt to trick user in involving a personal information, that hey, I just found out a great deal for the for our upcoming holiday trip, and if you can provide me these details, your passport number and expiry date and stuff, so I'll book something similar for you as well. So you'll provide all that information, and that's all. That's what they were looking for. And they'll get all that information, and that would be used for something in the future. Users directed to imposter websites controlled by the attackers. For example, there is we are all aware of google.com. Now they keep track of things like what people are usually making a mistake when they are typing Google. So they'll get all that data from the websites and statistics, and then they'll register a domain. So if you'll go by mistake, you'll go to that website. It would look similar to Google, but they'll be collecting your information through that website. So make sure the websites that you are entering, it's the right website and it's the right URL that you are entering in order to reach the account. Now this is another kind of a social engineering attack on a PayPal. They'll be saying that we have detected a payment which was made on your PayPal account, or this is the transaction. So you are billed for this amount. Kindly send this much amount on this account. Emails certain similar to this one would be appearing. It would look very natural to you, but actually they are trying to collect the information. The variation of the phishing is a spearing phishing, targeting specific users, or veiling attacks on wealthy customers, and phishing using the telephone voice command prompt like I'm calling from a bank. Now these are the different fancy words that they are using in order to categorize different kind of attacks which are taking place out there. Now, typo squatting takes place advantage of the users who make a typing error when entering a URL address. As I told you, you entered a different address instead of Google. You typed in something else, and it would be redirected you to a fake lookalike website, and you'll keep on entering your username and password for your Gmail and stuff, so your account will be compromised. Now, pretexting is attackers create an invented scenario to persuade the victim to perform an action to provide confidential information, different tactics to acquire your information, saying that the new policy of the organization has changed and we are updating our databases. So kindly provide us up-to-date information about your latest residential address and telephone number and etc. So you'll end up filling up those details. In fact, that's not the organization who's collecting all that information. These are the attackers who are sitting somewhere and they are looking for your personal information so that they can use it for their own personal gains. Hoaxes are the false warnings, can be used as the first step in the stack. In the attack, they may warn that it's a virus, though it's not a virus. It may ask for a user to call the attacker for help, saying that we have monitored that you are doing certain activities on the computer and we have a proof of it. So if you don't want that information to be mailed to your higher management, please contact us on this number. And the moment you'll call them, they'll collect all the information which is of their interest. Now, dumpster living is the digging through the trash receptacles or the for the useful information. Many different kind of things can be collected. For example, the USB drives that you are throwing away. The computer that you are selling, which is a second hand, or if you have purchased a second hand computer. So now there is a big market out there where people are very much interested in purchasing your used computers, because maybe they'll not be interested in the computer as much as they'll be interested in the information which might have been stored on the hard drive. Now you know that even if you'll format the hard drive, the data on it can be recovered. Most of the data can be recovered. So they are using different tools and they are using your hard drive to collect all the information which was ever saved on the computer before, and they'll use it for their own purposes. Now, shoulder surfing is information entered and observed by other persons, for example, on ATM, or if an old guy is using a laptop or he's entering his password. People are smart. They know that these guys are not too good in computers, so they'll try to see what kind of password he has entered, and once he leaves, they'll try to gain access to their accounts. So different kind of social engineering attacks are there, which are focused on the calendars, can reveal which employees are out. So they'll collect the information about the organizational calendars or information from there, And then if that user is away and no one is using his computer, they can use his computer during the off hours or during the off duty hours, even if he's in duty hours. But on offline, they know that no one is using those computers. They'll use those computers to launch different kind of attacks. Inexpensive computer hardware, USB and stuff, they'll collect the information from there. Memos old which were sent out from the organization, they'll send it out, and they'll collect the information from there, and they'll read the memo, that what kind of actions they took, and what's the next line of action, and they'll be preparing themselves according to that. And then they'll be collecting some phone directories as well, where they have the information of all the employees, their personal email address and the mobile numbers. Now what they are doing with these kind of information is they'll start a social marketing. They'll get all the mobile numbers and they'll start sending SMS that here is our new product, and we are sure you'll be interested in it, and if you are going to the shop, just show this message and you'll get a 20% discount, stuff like that. Or you'll be receiving emails from these kind of companies who have collected this information. Most of this information is being sold out by the marketing companies, and they are using all that information to target specific customers. We are stopping it over here, and we'll continue in our next lecture. That's it for today, guys.